good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're tuning in. Welcome to Cup of Cocoa and Chat. Whether you're driving, getting your workout in, out running errands, or just cozying up with your favorite beverage, I am so glad you're here. I am Princess, your host, and this is the space where we sip, share, and move through life with intention, no matter where we are. Because today we're talking about protecting the version of yourself you worked hard to become. This week, May the 11th through May 17th, theme for Cup of Cocoa and Chat is Protect Your Progress Week. Protect your peace, protect your focus, protect your becoming, protect the life you are building. Today is Monday, May the 11th, and this is episode number 45. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers. We celebrated our day yesterday. Although Mother's Day is every day, happy belated birthday. Happy belated Mother's Day. And I hope that you enjoyed your day. It was a beautiful day here in Maryland. So I hope that you enjoyed your day. Today's episode title is Discipline, Boundaries, and Becoming. Protecting the life you are building. Sometimes the hardest part isn't starting over. It's maintaining progress once life, people, distractions, habits, and emotions start pulling again. This episode is about discipline without burnout, boundaries without guilt, consistency without perfection, and protecting peace while growing. So today, our core talking points are: number one, progress attracts pressure. Number two, discipline is necessary. Number three, boundaries protect blessings. Number four, becoming requires repetition. And the last one, number five, give yourself grace or self favor. Okay? Because you are healing and starting to grow. The rebuilding has started, and you are thinking, what comes next? So the question for the day is, how do you protect what you are becoming? How do you protect it? In episode 44, we talked about finding yourself again. And in this episode, we are talking about protecting what you are building. So let's get right into it. Segment number one, progress attracts pressure. Sometimes when you start doing better, distractions appear. Some good, some bad. Old habits start calling your name again, trying to pull you back into old patterns, your old way of thinking, and those old comfort zones, right? And for some of us, growth can actually feel uncomfortable because we are meeting a new version of ourselves we have never seen before, or the version that is still becoming, right? And that makes us uncomfortable. So that's when the excuses start sounding tempting. And you start talking yourself out of all of the potential progress that you can make and the progress that you have already made. Let's explore what that looks like, right? You hear that voice saying, "What am I doing?" Or, "Is this really possible?" Maybe, "Do I even know what I'm doing?" And this one, "What if this doesn't work?" What if this doesn't work? And let me tell you something. Your growth will often get tested before it gets strengthened. Trust me on that one. Okay? For me personally, I've been on a journey since January 2025. I started building my brand intentionally, right? Building cup of cocoa and chat, building community, and building consistency. But there were moments where I began to be, well, I'm sorry, where I became distracted and started doubting myself. I would often ask myself, is anybody even listening to me? Am I reaching anyone? Do people really want to hear what I have to say? Or am I wasting my time? These are all the things that I used to say to myself, right? And those thoughts can become dangerous if you sit in them too long, right? But eventually I found my rhythm. I started recognizing that not only was I growing, but what I was building was growing as well. hmm And that growth did not come overnight. God knows it did not come overnight. But what it came from was prayer, it came from consistency, showing up for my audience, showing up for myself, posting even when I was tired or feeling ill, recording anyway, no matter how I felt, learning as much as I could or I can about this craft, and just growing anyway, right? Because discipline is not always loud or performative. Sometimes discipline is quietly showing up again and again until your life finally starts matching your vision or the vision God has shown you, right? And I think a lot of us are in that space right now, right? A lot of us are in that space right now. We are no longer just trying to survive, we are trying to protect the progress we fought hard to make. right? And once you realize that your growth matters, you also realize something else. Discipline is no longer optional, it becomes necessary. Which brings us right into segment 2. Discipline is necessary. Discipline is necessary. So let's talk about discipline, right? Here's something important we do not talk about enough. An actual fact about discipline. Okay? Discipline is a trainable skill. Discipline is a trainable skill. So what do I mean by that, right? It's not something people are simply born with, right? And honestly, I think sometimes we look at disciplined people and assume that person has it all together. They have it all together. She has it all together. He has it all together, right? Only because they have discipline, right? They have implemented discipline. We think that they have it all together, right? We assume that. But no, that's not the case, right? Because they had to put in the work to get there. Because discipline requires practice. Discipline requires consistency. It requires repetition and intentional choices made over and over again. Right? And the one thing I have learned for myself is this: discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not punishment. Because discipline says, I love the future version of myself enough to stay consistent today. Discipline will show you the road that you are trying to obtain, or the road that you have obtained, and to keep you there, right? That's what discipline is all about. So discipline says, I love the future version of myself enough to say, to stay consistent today. And that's powerful when you really think about it. That's powerful because discipline is not always about big dramatic changes. Sometimes it show up in small everyday decisions. For instance, budgeting to make your household run easier, a discipline. Budgeting is a discipline, right? Sometimes it may be hard, right? But it will make your household run easier. I trust me. Walking daily to help your heart and health. Definitely a discipline. You have to be disciplined to walk daily. Okay? Posting content consistently to either build income, sharing positivity, or simply sharing your life. A discipline, right? That's a discipline because it's consistency. Resting on time so you can have clarity and a productive day. Yep, you got it. It's a discipline, right? You set that bedtime. You put away all the electronics or devices. Turn the TV off. Right? For those of you, like a lot of people sleep with the TV. I get it. But just resting on time will help. Okay? That's a discipline. Or saying no, because healthy boundaries matter. That is discipline too. Right? And when you begin building discipline, something starts changing in your life. You gain control. You start prioritizing better. You create structure. You stop operating only from emotions and start operating with intention. Because feelings change every day. Feelings change every day. But discipline helps carry you when motivation disappears. So get some discipline in your life. Okay? So let me ask you something and be honest about it. Hold it to your chest, whatever you need to do. But do you have discipline? Do you currently have discipline in your life? Think about it. Do you have discipline in your life? Now, I'm not talking about perfection, right? I'm not talking about consistent motivation. Don't get it twisted now. I'm talking about discipline. The kind that can keep you showing up when it feels repetitive. The kind that keeps you committed when nobody is clapping yet or looking, right? Can you say that that is something that you do? Can you continue building results? I'm sorry, can you continue building when the results are slow? Do you give up or you keep that steady course? Because protecting your progress requires more than inspiration, it requires consistency. And a discipline can be consistency because it's something that you do without a thought. You know it has to be done, you do it. That's discipline, right? It's a trainable skill. And sometimes the biggest thing discipline teaches us is everything and everybody cannot have access to us, right? And that brings us right into the next part of this conversation, which is segment 3, because boundaries are not pushing people away. They're just about protecting what matters most. Okay? So, segment 3, boundaries protect blessings. Now, let's talk about boundaries, because sometimes that seems like such a hard thing to achieve, setting boundaries, right? Because here's the thing, everybody cannot have unlimited access to the new version of you or the person you're becoming, right? Some of us worked too hard for that healing, right? We worked too hard rebuilding, and we worked too hard for our growth, to allow old habits, unhealthy cycles, distractions, and emotional exhaustion to quietly ease their way back into our lives again. Because sometimes protecting your progress means finally becoming honest about what no longer serves you. And that's where boundaries come in. And healthy boundaries do not always have to sound harsh or disrespectful. Sometimes boundaries sound like this: I am unavailable tonight, right? I'm unavailable tonight. I can't carry that for you. I can't carry that for you. Your burdens, her burdens, his burdens. I can't do it. I can't do it, right? Sometimes boundaries can sound like this: no, thank you. No, thank you. No, sir, no, ma'am, no, thank you. Or this one is good: that no longer works for me. That no longer works for me. I can't do it. It doesn't work for me. It does not work for me. Let me tell you something. People may look at you differently when you start setting boundaries. Some people only felt comfortable with the version of you that always said yes, or the version that was overextended, and the version that ignored your own needs, trying to keep everybody else comfortable. Trust me, people will respect your boundaries when you stay consistent with them. They may not like them at first, they may fight you on it, but a boundary is a boundary, and sometimes they have to be set for the people that we love, people we care about, our workplace, our household, our church. Like, sometimes boundaries have to be set. Because here's the thing: boundaries teach people how to treat you. A lot of times we have to teach people how to treat us. It's just as simple as that. And spiritually, God gives us discernment for a reason. Although sometimes we ignore it, you know, we feel the warning signs, we sense the discomfort, and we recognize the draining energy when it starts to come on. But we still allow certain people, habits, and situations access anyway. Why? That's why this scripture means so much. Excuse me. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. See, God knew. He knew that you had to guard your heart. And that scripture is deeper than relationship alone because it's about protecting your peace, protecting your mind, protecting your focus, protecting your emotional health, and protecting the future you are trying to build. Because everything flows from your heart, right? Everything. Your choices, your reactions, your discipline, your healing, and your growth all flow from your heart. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop giving unlimited access to people, patterns, and distractions that keep pulling you away from your purpose. Because we all have a purpose. We all have a purpose in life. Whether you choose to stay steady the course to your purpose or allow yourself to get distracted. And if you're allowing yourself to get distracted, set those boundaries. Set those boundaries. Okay? Because the truth is, becoming a new version of yourself does not happen one time. It happens through repetition, through your habits, and through your daily choices. Now, let's get into segment 4, which is becoming requires repetition. So let's talk about becoming, because becoming does not happen through your moods. You become through your habits, not your moods. You become through your habits. A lot of times we think transformation has to be this huge, dramatic moment. But honestly, tiny, repeated choices create new lives. The little things matter more than we realize, right? Like getting up and trying again. You got knocked down, you lost funding, you don't have all the materials you need, so you just lay down. But get up and try again. Get up and try again. Posting consistency. Like I said, whatever the reason you post on social media, whatever platform you post on, posting consistently. See a post you like, share it. Right? Saving money little by little. Saving money little by little. Some of us can't afford to put big money away at one time. Right? Start off with something small, $5. Increase it as you go. You will see your money grow. Then you can get into, the different things where money matters. Okay? Walking daily. That matters. It helps you. Helps your heart. Praying. That should have been the first one I said. But praying. Resting. When your body tells you you need to rest, rest. Because the new version of you or the new version you're becoming is nothing to anybody if your body is broken down. If your mind can't get it right. So rest when you need to, right? To gain that clarity. Setting boundaries. We got to set boundaries. We have to set boundaries. Now, if you already have set the boundaries, perfect. Keep it going. Keep it going. That's what discipline is all about. Showing up even when you don't feel like it. Showing up when you do not feel like it. Because that's how becoming happens. Through repetition, repeated behavior, repeated discipline. And the more consistent you become, the stronger you become. The stronger you become. Because then you start, you continue, you repeat. You start, you continue, you repeat again and again and again. And eventually something will shift. You stop feeling like you're pretending to become a better version of yourself. And then you actually start becoming that better version. So you stop pretending and you actually start becoming that better version of yourself. Now, people will begin noticing the difference. They'll start noticing the difference too, right? Once you stop pretending and you start becoming that better version, people around you will start noticing. Not because you announced it, but because consistency changes your energy, right? The way you move changed. The way you speak changes. The way you respond changes. The way you protect your peace changes. And one thing I've learned personally in this is repetition creates your rhythm. And that rhythm is important because once you finally find your rhythm, you begin feeling more aligned, more focused, and more satisfied. And you see that cup as half filled. Or is it, you know what analogy I'm trying to make. You see that glass full because you're pouring into yourself and not pouring into others all the time. You're now starting to pour into yourself as well. Okay? And when you start feeling the results of your growth, you naturally want to continue becoming the better version of yourself. You want to see more and more of yourself in that new version, right? Not because you're chasing perfection, but because you finally realize your life feels better when you are intentional with it. And that's what protecting your progress is really all about. Okay? But even while growing, while healing, and becoming, there's still one thing many of us forget to give ourselves along the way, which is grace, right? Which takes us into segment 5. Give yourself grace or self favor. So before we close today's conversation, I want to remind you of something important. Give yourself favor. Give yourself self favor. Because sometimes we are so hard on ourselves while growing. We celebrate everybody else's progress. We encourage everybody else, and we show grace to everybody else, but struggle to extend that same kindness to ourselves. And healing does not work like that. Growth does not work like that. And certainly not becoming, it doesn't work like that, right? You're not going to have days, you are going to have days where you feel focused. And you're going to have days where you feel tired. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. If you can push yourself to do it, do it. But don't beat yourself up because you're feeling tired. Right? You can be tired and consistent. Give yourself grace. You might just need to step back for just a moment, or you may have to just pivot. But don't beat yourself up, right? You will have days where you feel disciplined and days where you feel emotionally drained. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up, because that doesn't mean you failed. That means you are human. And sometimes protecting your progress also means protecting yourself from your own harsh self-talk and self-doubt. So give yourself favor when growth feels slow. Give yourself favor when you are still learning. Give yourself favor when you're trying again. Because every step forward matters. And even the quiet ones nobody sees, they matter. And honestly, some of us are further along than we give ourselves credit for. Because you survived things that could have broken you. You rebuilt parts of yourself quietly that no one's seen. You kept showing up while carrying emotional weight nobody knew about. So not only was you carrying somebody else's, but you were carrying your own that no one knew about. Right? So that matters when you progress, when you just make a step forward. Because nobody knows your struggles but God. So instead of constantly asking, why am I not there yet? Start asking yourself, look how far I've already come. And that holds true for myself. I had to stop asking myself why I don't have 1,000 followers on Facebook yet. Right? I'm building slow. But why am I not there yet? I had to stop that and start celebrating how far I've already come. Because last year I was at 400. Less than that maybe. Right? Because protecting your progress is not about becoming perfect overnight. Not at all. It's about loving yourself enough to continue. And that, my friend, is favor. So as we move through Protect Your Progress Week, I want you to remember this. Protect your peace, protect your focus, protect your becoming, and protect the life you're building. And most importantly, do not forget to give yourself grace while becoming the person you prayed to be. Okay? Now, sip on this moment. The life you want will require protecting from the habits that built the life you outgrew. Hear me now. Hear me now. The life you want will require protecting from those habits that built that life you outgrew. Okay? So, all right, my Cocoa family, as we close out today's conversation, I want you to sit with this. You may slip, but that does not erase progress, right? Just because you slip for a moment, you get back up and continue, or you get back up and you start again, right? It does not erase that progress because you made some progress. You may have to pivot from that, but you made some progress. Just reset quickly and continue. Do not let one hard day convince you that your growth disappeared. One emotional moment does not cancel healing. One mistake does not cancel discipline. One setback does not erase becoming. Progress is not perfection, it's continuing anyway. All right? So I'm gone. As always, peace and blessings, guys. I love you guys, and I mean it.